third graders. We are here today to work on some more fractions. We are getting really good at our fractions, and we're going to continue on today working with equivalent fractions, which, if you remember, equivalent means equal. So our lesson today that we're on is lesson 22. And if we look at our objective or lesson today, it says we're going to generate, which means just to make, simple equivalent, which we said means equal, simple equivalent fractions using visual fraction models and the number line. We're going to skip all that gobbledygook in the middle and look right at the bottom for our I can statement. And it says I can generate simple equivalent fractions and look at that typo right there. Fractions using visual fraction models and number lines. So we're going to dive right in today. So again, we are on lesson 22, okay, which looks like that. So if you need to grab your problem set, we just need your problem set and a pencil today. Go ahead and put your name and date on your paper if you don't already have it, okay? And then let's jump right in. So let's read the directions for number 1. So number 1 says to write the shaded fraction of each figure on the blank, then draw a line to match the equivalent fractions. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to label all the fractions, and then we're going to draw lines to connect equivalent or equal fractions from this column to this column over here. So first of all, let's just go through and just really quickly just label the fractions. So let's do a couple together, and then if you want to pause and then finish writing down the fractions, you certainly can do that, okay? So the first one here, our numerator, our number on top, will be how many are shaded, and there's 1 shaded. Remember, the number on the bottom, the denominator, down, denominator, is the total number of pieces, and there's 2 total pieces there. So the fraction shaded there is 1/2, okay? The next one, the numerator, is your number of pieces that are shaded, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4 that are shaded. So that's our numerator, and our denominator, the number down on the bottom, is the total number of pieces. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 is my denominator, and the fraction shaded there is 4/6. Okay, the next one we have is 3/4. So there's 1, 2, 3 shaded out of a total of 4 pieces. Remember that bottom number, the denominator, is not just what's left. It's the total number of pieces, including the one shaded. So if you want to go ahead and pause your video, you should be comfortable with this right now. You can pause and finish just labeling the fractions on both sides, and then come back to me, and then we'll connect together. Okay. All right, let's see how you did, boys and girls. So for the last one in this first column, there's 3 shaded, so that's my numerator. And then for my denominator, there's 3, 6, 9. So the total amount of pieces is 9. So the fraction is 3/9. Thumbs up if you had that correct. Good job. Let's take a look at this second column over here. So there's 2 shaded. So my numerator is 2. My denominator, the total number of pieces, there's 1, 2, 3 total pieces. So the fraction shaded there is 2/3. Thumbs up if you had that correct. Good. All right, for this next one here, there is 1 piece shaded. So my numerator is 1, and the total number of pieces is 3. So my denominator is 3. So the fraction shaded there is 1/3. Thumbs up if you had that correct. Good job. And this next one here, there is 2 pieces shaded out of a total of 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 2/4 there. Thumbs up if you had that correct. Good job. And this last one, how many pieces did you put were shaded? What's your numerator for that one? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces shaded. So that's the numerator. And there's just 2 more. So 6, 7, 8. So 6 eighths. 8 would be your denominator there. There's total 8 total pieces, right? Thumbs up if you had that correct. 2 thumbs up if you had all those fractions correct. Good job. So now what we want to do is we want to connect. So we want to connect to make equivalent fractions. So it doesn't look, this says 1/2 here, and I don't see any fractions on this side that say 1/2, but it doesn't matter. They're still equivalent. So I can actually look and I can see, okay, 1/2 of this is shaded. So which picture on this side shows that it's 1/2 shaded. Is this one 1/2 shaded? No, more than half is shaded. How about this one? Nope, not even half is shaded. How about this one? Yeah, this one has, even though it's two triangles, these two triangles shaded together equals 1/2. So 1/2 of this whole square is shaded. So I'm going to connect. And let's look here, 2/4. Do you remember what we talked about? If my numerator, the 2, is half of the denominator, 4, 2 is half of 4, or 2 plus 2 equals 4. So that means that 2/4 is equal to 1/2. Can I teach you another fun trick? So this is called the butterfly. So if you have two fractions that you think are equivalent and you want to check them, you can butterfly them. So I have 2/4 and I have 1/2. So I'm going to butterfly these two fractions. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go diagonal here, circle the 1 and the 4. And 1 times 4 is 4, right? And I'm going to go this way. 2 times 2. So I have the 2 and the 2. So I'm going to say 2 times 2 is 4. So we have a 4 and we have a 4 and they match. So we're going to give this butterfly its antenna. Is that cute? So make a little butterfly. So this is a really good trick to check to see if your fractions are equivalent or equal. If you have two fractions that you think are equal, you can put them side by side and then just do these diagonal wings like this. And then you're just going to multiply those two numbers. And if they're both equal on the wings when we multiply, that means they're equivalent. And then it's cute. We can just make this cute little antenna on them. Okay, so we'll do that some more. All right, look at our next one. So we have 4/6 for the next one. Do you see anything over here that looks like it would have the same amount shaded as 4/6? Well, let's see. What if we think that it's not? So I don't think that it's 1/3 because 1/3 only has this piece shaded right here, and it has a lot more pink than this one has. This just has two little pieces of pink. So I definitely don't think it's that one right there. I know it's not that one, obviously, because that's a half. So now I'm down to either this one or this one. Well, let's see. I'm kind of thinking about moving these pieces right here. Like, what if I move this piece over here? If I take this one piece and I move it and fill in this pink piece right here, then I would have two columns shaded, and then I would have one column pink. Do you see another shape over here that has two columns that are completely shaded and one column that's completely pink? What about this one right there? Look, it has two columns that are shaded and one column pink. Do you see what I did here? If I were to cut this out right there and slide this piece right over there, then these two would be completely shaded and this one would be completely pink. So remember that trick that I showed you guys, the butterfly? You want to try it? So if we have 2/3 here, I'm going to put 4/6 right next to it. 4/6. And we're going to butterfly. So let's do our butterfly wing. So let's circle the 4 and the 3 together. Do you remember what we do to those numbers? We're going to multiply them. So we're going to do 4 times 3. 3 times 4 is 4, 8, 12. And then I'm going to circle the 2 and the 6. And I'm going to multiply 2 times 6 or 6 times 2. 6, 12. Are they equal? Are they equivalent? Yes, they are because they both equal 12, right? So those two fractions are equivalent. So I can go ahead and give it its little antenna and they're equivalent. So I can go ahead and I can connect. So I know that 4/6 and 2/3 are equivalent. Okay. And plus I can see that too if I was to think about moving this piece there. And then I can see that it would technically be very equivalent because they're taking up the same amount of space. Alrighty. All right, so now I have these two left and these two to connect, right? So I'm looking at this one. This one has a lot more shaded in than this one, right? This has a lot more shaded and a smaller area of pink. This one has a lot more pink and 3 small squares shaded. So automatically, well, I know what I think. What do you think? Do you think that this one is going to match this one or this one? I'm thinking it's going to match this one right there, right? Because this one has a lot more pink. This one has more pink than this one. And I'm also thinking this one has the top line completely filled in. This one doesn't. It's kind of scattered. But what if I move this piece here and this piece here? Then this top row would be completely shaded, and then these two would be pink, right? Kind of like a puzzle. We can kind of move the pieces around. So if I was to move this up there and this up there, then it would have the same amount shaded as there. So I think that 3 9s is equivalent to 1/3. Do you agree with me? What can we do to check to make sure? A butterfly, right? So let's do our butterfly right next to it. So we have 1/3 and 3 9. That's what we think is equivalent. Okay. So we're going to make the one wing, connect the 3 and the 3. We're going to multiply. 3 times 3, 3, 6, 9. Okay. And then circle for our other wing. 9 times 1 equals 9. Are they equivalent? Yeah, they are. So I can give them its antenna. So I have 9 and 9. So I know that 1/3 and 3 9 are equivalent. So that means that 3/4 and 6/8 should definitely be equivalent, right? In this one, I have this top corner that's pink. I don't ever want to just assume because I could have made a mistake somewhere else. So I definitely want to do the work and check. This top corner here is completely pink. So if I wanted to make this corner here completely pink, I could slide this triangle down and fill this in right there, right? Then everything would be shaded except for this one square right there. So it does actually look like it takes up the same amount of space. Do you agree? Yeah, what can we do to check and make sure? Make it butterfly. All right, so we already have 6/8 written, so I'm gonna write 3/4 right next to it. Okay, do you remember what to do? Okay, so we're gonna circle 8 and the 3, we're gonna multiply, and we have 8, 16, 24. So 8 times 3 or 3 times 8 is 24. And then we're going to circle the 6 and the 4. What is 6 times 4? 24. So are 3/4 and 6/8 equivalent? Yes, they are. You can get in their little antenna and connect. Good. Do you like the butterfly trick? I think it's fun too. All right. And it's good because it really helps us to check. And what if we thought that we had equivalent fractions and then we did the butterfly and then they're not equal on the wings? Well, then we know that we made a mistake, right? So then we would need to go back and check. So it's definitely a good way to check. All right, so on the back, number 2, it says, write the missing parts of the fraction. So this one says 1/3 is equal to blank 6. Well, this is 1/3 because one piece is shaded out of a total of 3. And this is some amount of 6. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's where they get 6 as a denominator. And how many are shaded? Go ahead and fill in the numerator. 2, right? 2 are shaded. So 1/3 is equal to 2 6. And I can see it in the picture because the same amount is shaded. But just since we learned the butterfly today, let's go ahead and practice. So let's go ahead and circle the 3 and the 2, and let's multiply. 3 times 2 is 6. And then 6 times 1 or 1 times 6 is 6. So yeah, that's a good way for me to check that 1/3 and 2 6 are equivalent. So I can put the little antenna on the butterfly. Good, look at the next one. So the next one says 2 over blank is equal to 1/4. So here's 1/4 right here because 1 is shaded out of 4. So there's that one. So this top picture must be representing this fraction right here. So there's 2 pieces shaded, so that's where that 2 comes from, out of, and I'm missing my denominator, so I need the total amount of pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 2 8s is equal to 1/4. So I can see that that's true because of my picture, but what do I want to practice? Let's practice our butterfly, right? So let's do this wing right here. So 1 times 8 is 8. And then 2 times 4 is 8. So is 2 8s and 1/4 equivalent? Yes, they sure are. So let's go ahead and give our butterfly its antenna. Good. If you want to pause and try this last one on your own, doing the same exact thing, and then use your butterfly to check, okay? Alrighty, let's see, boys and girls. So 4/8 is the first one because there's 1, 2, 3, 4 shaded out of a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's that 4/8 is equal to 8 over something. Well, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 shaded out of a total of 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. There's a total of 16 pieces there. Okay. So this one's a little bit tougher, right? Because if I'm to cross multiply or do my butterfly, 8 times 8 is 64. 16 times 4 is a little bit tougher. How could we do that? Well, we could do 16 plus 16. And here we're getting into, I don't even know if I would have you do the butterfly here because this would be a little bit tricky, obviously. 6 plus 6 is 12. 2 carry the 1. This would be 3. Then we could add another 16, so 8 and 4, and then add, so we have 1, 2, 3. We would add one more 16, and then we would know that 8 plus 6 is 14, so 4, 5, 6, that is 64. I don't know if I would suggest the butterfly for that one, actually, boys and girls, because we could make a mistake here. So as long as we have the picture support there, that would be okay. But if you want to challenge your brain, your math brain to do that too, that's good. Okay. But yes, they are equal. So I can do that. Okay. Most of our butterflies we're going to find are pretty easy peasy to multiply. We're not going to get into big denominators like that to have to multiply. Okay. Alrighty. Let's take a look at number 3. So number 3 says, why does it take 2 copies of 1/8 to show the same amount as 1 copy of 1/4? Explain your answer in words and pictures. So 2 copies of 1/8 and 1 copy of 1/4. So here's what we're going to do here. We're going to draw kind of a big rectangle like this. And we're going to split it in half. Okay. The top part we're going to split into fourths. We can put 1/4 there just to guide us. And the bottom section we're going to split into 8ths. Okay. So if I want to split this top section to fourths, what's my trick for fourths? I cut it in half, and I cut the halves in half. Okay. And how many would I shade? So 1 copy of 1/4, I'm going to shade in 1. Okay. So now I want to make 8ths down below it. So I'm going to cut it in half, and I can use what I have right above it. Cut the halves in half. That gives me fourths. And then from fourths to get 8ths, what would I do to my fourths? I'll just cut them in half, right? I'm going to cut my fourths in half. I could just do 1 cut like this. I like this though because it's going to show me real easily. So it says 2 copies of 1/8. So here's 1/8 and here is 2/8. So now with this, I can see that 1/4 and 2/8 are equal. Okay, so there's I should actually put a 2 there. 1/4 and 2/8. So 1/4 is equal to 2/8. Okay, so it says, why does it take 2 copies of 1/8 to show the same amount as 1 copy of 1/4? Explain your answer in words and pictures. So 2/8, why does it take 2 copies of 1/8 to show the same amount as 1? So 2/8 is really 1/4 just cut in half, right? So what we mean by that is when we cut this into fourths, first of all, when we cut the fourths in half, then we get the 2/8, right? So when we split it up into 8ths, we get the each fourth we cut in half, and then that gives us the 8ths, and 2/8 is equal to 1/4. Okay, we're going to do the same kind of thing for number 4 because number 4 says how many 6 does it take to make the same amount as 1/3? So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to kind of make a big rectangle. And then we're going to cut it in half right down the middle. How many 6 does it take to make the same amount as 1/3? So here's 1/3. So this part is going to be thirds, and this is going to be 6 down here. So let's cut the thirds first. So there's my thirds. same amount as 1/3. So I know that I'm going to shade in 1. Okay. And now I want to make 6. So to make 6, I'm going to cut in thirds. And once I have my thirds, what do I do to get 6? I cut them in half, right? Okay. So how many thirds does it take to get, or how many 6 does it take to make thirds? So to make 1/3, I can shade in 1/6. Am I going to shade in another one? Yep. So there's 2 6 shaded, and that's equal to 1/3, right? So 1/3 is equal to 2 6. And the same thing, because if I have a third and I cut it in half, that's giving me 2 6. If I cut it into thirds first, and then I cut my thirds in half, I get 6, right? Alrighty, and we are going to cross off number 5 for today. You guys did an amazing job, okay? So if we look back at our objective for today, I can generate simple equivalent fractions using visual fraction models and number lines. That's what we did. We were creating equivalent fractions. And remember, equivalent is a fancy word that means equal. And we also learned a cool new trick today called the butterfly, which was a great and fun trick to check and see if our two fractions are equivalent or equal. Okay? Super job, kiddos, and I will see you for some more fractions tomorrow.